Mark Meme Lord 420 was having the worst day of his streaming career, and that was saying something considering he once accidentally broadcasted himself singing karaoke in his underwear to 10,000 viewers. His ship, a beat-up cargo hauler, ironically named Cosmic Chuckle, had been limping through an uncharted sector when a rogue asteroid clipped his navigation array. 1 minute, he was hyping his Unitube audience with promises of a Galactic prank war livestream. The next, he was spiraling toward a desert planet that wasn't on any star chart. The crash was spectacular. Think Hollywood explosion meets budget fireworks show. By some miracle, Mark stumbled out of the wreckage, his beige cargo pants torn to shreds, his signature sub or scrub t-shirt reduced to a glorified rag, and his trusty streaming drone buzzing loyally overhead, still broadcasting his every move to the galaxy. The planet Zorak was a furnace. Twin suns blazed overhead, turning the rust-colored dunes into a skillet that could fry an egg, or a human, in minutes. Mark's throat felt like he'd swallowed a cactus, and his skin was doing its best impression of overcooked bacon. "Yo, chat!" he croaked, squinting at the drone's tiny hollow display. "This is not the vibe. Where's the nearest Space 7-Eleven? I need a Slurpee. Stat!" The chat exploded with laughing emojis and effing chat messages, but no one had any useful advice for surviving a crash on an alien world. Typical. Mark trudged through the dunes, his sneakers sinking into the scorching sand. His thick black beard, usually his pride and joy, was now a matted mess, collecting sand like a hipster's dream catcher. Come on, universe, give me a break. I'm just a streamer, not Indiana Jones. His drone whirred, capturing his misery in glorious 4K. The view count was climbing, 50,000 and rising. At least his crash was going viral. As he crested a dune, the ground shook. Heavy, rhythmic thuds echoed across the desert, each one vibrating through Mark's chest like a subwoofer at a rave. He froze, squinting into the shimmering heat haze. A figure emerged, towering and terrifying like something out of a sci-fi blockbuster. She was at least 12 feet tall, her green skin gleaming like polished jade under the suns, long emerald hair flowed like a cape, and her golden eyes burned with intensity. Her armor, if you could call it that, was a mix of metallic plates and what looked suspiciously like lingerie from a galactic Victoria's Secret. In her hand, she gripped a glowing plasma sword that could probably cut through a spaceship like butter. "Yo, chat," Mark whispered, his drone zooming in on the alien warrior. "This is a cosplay convention or what? This chick's committed." The figure raised her sword, pointing it directly at his face, and bellowed in a voice that could wake a coma patient. "Intruder! By the laws of Zorak, you trespass on sacred ground. You will face me in mortal combat, and I, Zelra, Blade of the Crimson Spire, will sever your head and display it before the city gates." Mark blinked, then burst out laughing. "Oh my God, this is next level roleplay. You're like straight out of a VR game. Yo, props for the sword. Does it light up with batteries or what?" His drone spun around, capturing Zelra's baffled expression as the chat went wild with LMAO and "she's gonna yeet him" comments. Mark, oblivious to the very real danger, struck a pose. "All right, hot alien lady, let's do this action scene. I'm ready for my close-up." Zelra's golden eyes narrowed, her sword humming with energy. "You mock the sacred rites of Zorakia," she roared, lunging forward with a speed that Mark's jaw dropped. The plasma blade sliced through the air, missing his head by inches as he yelped and dived behind a rock. "Yo, Zelra, chill," she yelled, ducking another swing that scorched the sand. He tripped over a rock, rolled down a dune, and popped back up, grinning like an idiot. "See, chat, I'm basically parkour Jesus." Zelra, clearly unamused, activated what Mark later dubbed her ultimate move. Her sword glowed brighter and she launched herself at him like a missile with legs, closing the distance in a heartbeat. Mark's brain screamed, "Run!" but his legs had other plans. He tripped over his own torn pants, flailing as he fell backward into the sand. Zelra, caught off guard by his clumsiness, stumbled over him, her massive form crashing down. They ended up in a tangled heap, her sword skittering away, still humming ominously. Mark, pinned beneath her, stared up into her furious golden eyes. Hi, he said, his voice cracking. "Nice armor, very aerodynamic." Zelra opened her mouth, probably to threaten him again, but Mark's earthborn instincts kicked in. Panicking, he did the only thing he could think of to avoid being bitten or stabbed. He leaned up and kissed her square on the lips. It was less a romantic gesture and more a desperate attempt to distract her, like throwing a squeaky toy at an angry dog. To his shock, she froze, her eyes widening to the size of dinner plates. The kiss lasted maybe 3 seconds, but it felt like an eternity. Mark pulled back, grinning nervously. "Yo, Zelra, that's called chemistry, not a war crime. You good?" Zelra remained motionless, her green skin flushing a deeper shade. You dare use a forbidden biochemical weapon?" she stammered, her voice trembling. "My heart rate has tripled. My core temperature has risen 42 degrees. This is an attack on my nervous system." Mark blinked, then laughed so hard he nearly choked on sand. "Bruh, that's just a kiss. You know, lips on lips, sparks fly, maybe a little tongue if you're feeling spicy." He winked at the drone, which was now circling them like a paparazzi. "Chet, we got a galactic vibe check here. Subscribe for more alien romance content." Before Zelra could respond, a roar erupted from the horizon. A crowd of Zorakians, tall, green-skinned warriors like Zelra, clad in similar armor, emerged from behind the rocks. They were cheering, their voices echoing across the desert. "The kiss of union," one shouted. "The sacred rite is complete," another bellowed, raising a fist. "The victor claims the defeated as their mate." Mark's jaw dropped. "Wait, what? Mate? Like wife? Yo, chat, did I just get engaged?" The drone's hollow display lit up with heart emojis and rip Mark messages. Zelra, still straddling him, looked equally stunned. This is not how combat trials work," she muttered, her bolden eyes darting between Mark and the cheering crowd. "The kiss of union is an ancient ritual. You have claimed me, and I you." Mark sat up, brushing sand from his beard. "Hold up, I was just trying not to die. Nobody said anything about a wedding." The crowd, undeterred, began chanting, "To the city! To the city!" Zelra, regaining her composure, stood and hauled Mark to his feet with one hand, her strength making him feel like a rag doll. "You will face the consequences of your actions, human," she said, though her tone was less threatening and more intrigued. "Come, we must prepare for the binding ceremony." As the Zorakians escorted them toward their city, a sprawling metropolis of crystalline towers and floating platforms, Mark's drone kept pace, streaming the whole absurd procession. "Chat, I'm either about to get married or sacrificed. Either way, smash that like button." The view count hit 200,000, and Mark couldn't help but grin. If he was going down, he was going down viral.
Mark felt like he'd been yeeted into a sci-fi fever dream, and his brain was still buffering. The city of Zorak was a chaotic blur of glowing towers and floating walkways, but he barely registered the spectacle. His focus was split between the 12-foot-tall alien warrior princess striding beside him and the fact that he was apparently about to get married because of a panic-induced smooch. His streaming drone buzzed overhead, its hollow display flashing with comments from his YouTube audience, now at 300,000 and climbing. "Yo, chat," he muttered, jogging to keep up with Zeller's long strides. "Am I tripping, or did I just propose to a space Amazon by accident? Send help." Zelra, blade of the Crimson Spire, glanced down at him, her golden eyes narrowing like twin lasers. Her plasma sword was sheathed at her hip, but the way her hand hovered near it made Mark's stomach do a backflip. "You jest, human," she said, her voice a mix of regal authority and barely concealed irritation. "Your biochemical attack has bound us by sacred law. The binding ceremony is no laughing matter." She touched her lips absently, then jerked her hand away as if it had betrayed her. Mark caught the gesture and grinned, his streamer instincts kicking in despite the existential panic. "Yo, Zelra, you keep touching your lips like you're replaying that kiss in 4K. Feeling the human magic yet?" Her green cheeks flushed a deeper shade, and she quickened her pace, forcing Mark to practically sprint. "Your insolence is unprecedented," she muttered, though her tone wavered, like she wasn't sure whether to gut him or laugh. Inside, Zelra was a storm of confusion. She was a warrior, trained for centuries to cleave enemies and uphold Zorakian honor. Yet this tiny, bearded human had disarmed her with a single, reckless act. That kiss, Those soft, warm lips had sent her heart rate spiking like a reactor overload. Was this what her elders meant by the fire of union? Or was she just allergic to human spit? Either way, the thought of facing the elders with this clown as her mate made her want to hurl her sword into the nearest sun. Mark, oblivious to her turmoil, was grappling with his own. Okay, brain, let's unpack this. Crashed on an alien planet? Check. Almost got sliced by a hot warrior chick? Check. Now I'm her fiancé because I kissed her to avoid becoming shish kebab. Bruh, this is peak chaos. He glanced at Zelra, her emerald hair swaying like a superhero cape, her armor hugging curves that could probably bench press him. She's way out of my league, he admitted to himself. Like galactic influencer versus Twitch nobody. But the way she kept stealing glances at him like she was trying to solve a puzzle gave him a flicker of hope. Maybe he wasn't just a meme to her. They reached the arena, a massive stone structure carved into a cliffside, packed with Zorakians who roared like they were at a galactic Super Bowl. His streaming drone zoomed in, capturing the sea of green-skinned giants, their cheers shaking his bones. "Yo, Chet, we got a full house," he whispered, his heart pounding. "This is either my big break or my funeral. Subscribe for the plot twist." Zelra led him to a central platform, her presence commanding despite the faint flush still coloring her cheeks. Mark couldn't help but notice how her armor gleamed, accentuating her strength, and, okay, focus, Mark, don't simp on stream. An elder, his green face scarred like a roadmap of battles, stepped forward raising a glowing staff that looked like it was stolen from a rave. "Warriors of Zorak," he boomed, his voice echoing like a dubstep drop. "The human Mark has defeated Zelra, Blade of the Crimson Spire, in the Kiss of Union. By ancient law, they are to be bound as mates, their union blessed by the suns." Mark's brain screeched to a halt. Defeated? Bruh, I just tripped and panic-kissed her. He raised a hand, his streamer swagger barely holding up under the elder's glare. Quick question, big guy. I didn't defeat anybody. I just, fell and got a little frisky. Can we hit the rewind button on this whole marriage thing?" The crowd gasped, a collective intake of breath that sucked the air from the arena. Zelra's head snapped toward him, her golden eyes flashing with a mix of fury. And was that embarrassment? "You dare mock the sacred rites?" the elder thundered, his staff pulsing ominously. "The kiss of union is inviolable. To reject it is to invite death." Mark's stomach dropped like he'd missed a jump in a platformer game. Death? Yo, I just wanted to stream some space content, not star in a guillotine simulator. He glanced at Zelra, expecting her to back him up, but she was staring at him like he'd just insulted his entire bloodline. "Okay, Mark, don't fumble this. You've talked your way out of bans before. You got this." He flashed a grin at the elder. "Chill, my dude. No death vibes needed. I'm all in for the wedding arc. Let's make it a banger." He turned to the drone, winking. "Chet, we're going full space rom-com. Who's got the popcorn? Subscribe for the tea." The crowd's tension broke into cheers, and Zelra's glare softened, though she muttered, "Your tongue is as reckless as your actions, human." Inside, she was reeling. How does he remain so unbothered? She wondered. He faces death with jests and strange gestures to his invisible audience. Part of her wanted to throttle him for his flippancy, but another part, small, traitorous, found his defiance alluring. In Zorak, warriors proved themselves through strength and silence. Mark's chaotic energy was a foreign language, one she was inexorably drawn to learn. The ceremony kicked off with a flurry of alien weirdness that made Mark's head spin. A group of Zoraki in attendance, each taller than an NBA player, surrounded him, stripping off his tattered sub or scrub t-shirt and torn pants. "Yo, hands off the merch," he protested, but they were already draping him in a ceremonial garment. It was a bizarre mix of toga and monster hide, smelling like a leather shop had a one-night stand with a swamp. Mark tugged at the fabric, grimacing. "Chet, this fit is giving space caveman. Rate it 1 to 10. The chat flooded with 2 10s and fashion crime comments, but Mark struck a pose. Undeterred. Haters gonna hate, eh? Across the platform, Zelra was undergoing her own transformation. Attendants adorned her in a new set of armor, its metallic plates etched with glowing runes. Her plasma sword was strapped to her back, its hilt glinting like a deadly jewel. Mark's jaw dropped. Okay, she's serving warrior queen realness, he thought, his heart doing a little unishort dance. I'm married to that? Bruh, I peaked. He leaned toward her, lowering his voice. Damn, Zelra, you're out here looking like a final boss. Respect. Zelra's eyebrow arched, but her lips twitched, betraying a hint of amusement. Your words are as peculiar as your strategies, human, but they are not displeasing. Inside, her thoughts were a battlefield. He compliments me as if we are equals, yet he is so small, so fragile. Her training screamed that he was unworthy, a mere accident of fate. But the memory of his kiss, bold, uncalculated, stirred something deep within her. It wasn't just the physical sensation, although that had been unsettlingly pleasant. It was his audacity, his refusal to cower. Is this what the elders mean by a mate's strength? She wondered, stealing a glance at him. His goofy grin made her want to both protect him and shove him into a dune. The elder began the vows, his voice rolling like thunder. Mark of Earth, Zelra of Zorak. You stand before the suns to forge an eternal synergy of combat souls. Mark blinked, trying to parse the words. Combat souls? Sounds like a battle royale skin. He repeated the vows as best he could, stumbling over phrases like unyielding bond of starfire and oath of the crimson blade. His drone hovered closer, capturing his every fumble as the chat spammed cringe and Mark struggling. Y'all are ruthless, he thought, but he powered through, his voice growing steadier. If I'm going to be a space husband, I'm doing it with style. Zelra's vows were delivered with the precision of a sword strike, her voice resonant and proud. But as she spoke, her mind wandered. I am pledging myself to this jester, she thought, her gaze flicking to Mark. Yet he faces this ritual with no fear, only humor. She had expected him to flee, to beg for release. Instead, he stood tall. Well, as tall as a 5'10" human could, his eyes sparkling with mischief. Maybe there is strength in his absurdity, she admitted, her heart rate spiking again. Or perhaps I am losing my mind. The elder raised his staff, its glow intensifying. By the power of Zorak's sons, you are bound. Seal your union with the kiss of eternity. Mark froze, his brain short-circuiting. Another kiss? In front of all these aliens? He glanced at Zelra, who towered over him, her golden eyes softening in a way that made his knees weak. Yo, Zelra, you cool with round two? He asked, his voice cracking slightly. Don't fumble this, Mark. Chat's watching. Zelra's yeeps curved into a rare, genuine smile. You began this, little human. Now finish it. Her voice was low, almost teasing, and Mark's heart did a full-on somersault. Okay, she's into it. Let's make it iconic. He leaned in, his hands finding her shoulders, and kissed her, slow, deliberate, pouring every ounce of his chaotic human charm into it. Her lips were warm, soft, and tasted faintly of something metallic, like the air before a storm. The crowd erupted, their cheers shaking the arena, and the drone's hollow display exploded with heart emojis. Ship it and get it, Mark, comments. Zelra's mind went blank, her warrior instincts drowned out by a rush of sensation. This is no weapon,
she thought, her heart hammering. This is connection. His kiss was bold, yet gentle, a paradox that mirrored the man himself. She kissed him back, her hands resting lightly on his waist, careful not to crush him. When they pulled apart, her cheeks were flushed deep jade, and she muttered, "Your enzymes are dangerously potent." Inside, she was reeling. How does he do this? How does a mere human unravel me so completely? Mark grinned, his confidence soaring. Told ya, it's the human magic, baby. We're out here rewriting the galactic playbook. He turned to the drone, striking a pose. Chat, we just locked lips in front of an alien nation. Subscribe for the interspecies glow-up. The view count surged past 350,000, and the crowd's roars grew louder as the elder declared, "The union is sealed. Let the celebration begin." Mark's heart was still racing, but he felt a strange calm settle over him. Okay, I'm married to a 12-foot warrior goddess who could yeet me into orbit, he thought. But damn, that kiss? Worth it. He glanced at Zelra, who was watching him with an expression he couldn't quite read, part pride, part curiosity, part something deeper. Maybe this is more than a meme, he realized. Maybe this is real. Zelra, meanwhile, stood tall, her hand brushing his as they stepped off the platform. He is no warrior, but he is mine, and I will fight to understand this strange, infuriating human.
The feast was a sensory overload, a chaotic mashup of alien cuisine and rowdy Zorakian energy that made Mark feel like he'd been dropped into a galactic music festival with no VIP pass. He sat beside Zelra, his monster-high toga itching like a bad cosplay choice, trying to wrap his head around the fact that he was now married to a warrior who could probably bench press a spaceship. His streaming drone hovered nearby, beaming the madness to a Unitube audience now at 500,000 strong. "Chat, we're at the alien wedding buffet," he whispered, eyeing a plate of glowing fruits that pulsed like rave lights. "If I eat the shiny stuff and turn into a glow stick, y'all better spam F in chat." Zelra leaned closer, her armor clinking like a warning bell, her presence as commanding as ever. "You must eat, Mark," she said, her voice low but firm, like a general issuing orders. "A weak mate reflects poorly on me, and I will not have my honor questioned." She speared a wriggling protein slag with a fork the size of a trident and held it out, its movements making Mark's stomach lurch. "This strengthens the spirit. Consume it." Mark stared at the squirming food, his brain screaming abort mission. "Bruh, this looks like it's auditioning for a horror movie. I'm a pizza and energy drink guy, not a space survivalist." But Zelra's expectant gaze pinned him like a spotlight, and he couldn't shake the feeling that disappointing her would sting worse than any Twitch ban. "All right, I'm no coward," he said, grabbing the fork with exaggerated bravado. "Chat, this is for the clout." He took a bite, the texture like chewing a live eel, and gagged so hard his eyes watered. Forcing a smile, he croaked, "Tastes like victory?" "Yeah, let's go with that." The chat exploded with laughing emojis and "he's going to hurl" comments, while Zelra's lips twitched, a flicker of amusement breaking through her warrior facade. "You are brave for such a small creature," she said, her tone softening just enough to make Mark's heart skip. "Is she roasting me or flirting?" he wondered, wiping his mouth. "Either way, I'm kinda into it." Inside, Zelra was grappling with her own confusion. He faces this trial with jest, yet he does not flee. His spirit is not that of a warrior, yet it endures. The human's willingness to choke down Zorakian food all for the sake of her honor stirred something unfamiliar in her, a warmth that had nothing to do with combat or duty. Is this what the elders mean by a mate's strength? She wondered, her fingers tightening around her fork. Or am I simply intrigued by his absurdity? Mark, oblivious to her inner debate, was riding a wave of alien adrenaline and the high of his soaring view count. The Zorakians around them were getting louder, their toasts morphing into boasts as warriors clashed mugs of fizzy blue liquid and challenged each other to impromptu wrestling matches. One pair of giants grappled nearby, their armor sparking as they hit the ground, while others started a sword dancing display that looked like a deadly choreography reel. Mark's streamer instincts kicked into overdrive. "Yo, this is content gold," he thought. "If I don't jump in, chat's gonna call me a lurker." He glanced at Zelra, who was fielding praise from a grizzled warrior about her latest battlefield victory. "Gotta show my new wife I'm not just a meme machine." "Yo, chat, time for some human swagger," he announced, snatching a ceremonial staff from a nearby table. It was heavier than it looked, like trying to wield a lamppost, but he spun it like a baton, channeling every anime montage he had ever seen. "Check this, eh?" He attempted a backflip, fully expecting to nail it like a parkour pro. Instead, he flopped onto his back with a thud that echoed through the arena, the staff clattering beside him. The Zorakians roared, their deep voices shaking the air, and Mark groaned, staring at the starry sky. Smooth, Mark, real smooth. Zara was at his side in an instant, hauling him up with one hand like he weighed less than her sword. "Your courage outweighs your coordination, little warrior," she said, her voice laced with amusement that made Mark's ego sting less. "Little warrior," he thought, dusting himself off. "That's my new grand now." He flashed a grin, leaning into the moment. Yo, Zelra, that's my new streaming handle. Sub for Little Warrior content, eh? The drone zoomed in, capturing her half-smile as the view count surged to 600,000. She's vibing with me. Mark realized, his heart doing a little victory lap. I'm not just a crash-landed nobody to her. Maybe I'm something. Inside, Zelra was torn between exasperation and admiration. He throws himself into danger with no skill, only bravado, yet his failures do not break him. On Zorak, a warrior's worth was measured in precision and strength. Mark's clumsy antics should have shamed her, but his refusal to stay down sparked a flicker of pride. He is no Zorakian, she admitted, but his spirit is compelling. She caught herself wanting to protect him, to guide him, and the realization made her shift uncomfortably. Am I truly bound to this fool, or is he teaching me a strength I never knew? The feast's energy shifted as the Zorakians cleared a space for the ceremonial dance, a tradition that made Mark's stomach drop harder than the protein slab. Dance? He thought, panic rising. My moves are straight out of a middle school talent show. Zelra rose, her movements fluid as she stepped into the open area, the crowd parting like she was royalty. Come, Mark, she called, her voice carrying a challenge wrapped in warmth. Our union must be sealed in motion. Mark gulped, his drone hovering like a judgmental coach. Chap, pray for me, he muttered, stumbling to his feet. My dance skills are limited to the Macarena and some Unitube trends I learned at 2 a.m. He joined Zelra, his toga flapping awkwardly as he tried to match her confidence. She moved like a goddess, her steps a blend of power and grace that made the air hum. Mark, meanwhile, flailed his arms, attempting to mimic her with all the finesse of a drunk giraffe. Yo, Zelra, teach me your ways, he called, half laughing, half pleading. I'm out here looking like a glitchy NPC. Zelra's laugh rang out, a musical sound that hit Mark like a critical hit to the heart. Damn, that's the best sound in the galaxy, he thought, his grin widening. She's vibing with me. How much my hands? Follow my lead, human, she said, her voice low and teasing, or I will carry you and your chat will mock you for eternity. Mark chuckled, letting her steer him through the steps. Carry me? Bet, that's premium content right there. Chat, y'all want that clip? Inside, Zora was surprised by her own enjoyment. This is no warrior's dance, she thought, watching Mark's clumsy attempts to keep up. Yet he tries for me. His hands were small in hers, warm and surprisingly steady, and the contact sent a jolt through her that she couldn't explain. Is this the bond of mates? She wondered, or is his chaos infecting me? She tightened her grip, pulling him into a spin that made him yelp, and found herself smiling, a real unguarded smile. Perhaps I do not mind his infection. The crowd cheered as they moved together, Mark's awkward steps somehow blending with Zelra's elegance, like a remix of two wildly different tracks that somehow worked. The drone captured every moment, the chat flooding with power couple and human-alien dance battle comments. Mark was breathless, sweaty, and grinning like he had just won a tournament. Yo, I'm dancing with a space queen, he thought, adrenaline pumping. This is the glow-up of the century. He caught Zelra's eye, her expression softer than he had ever seen. All right, Zelra, rate my moves, he panted. Am I Zorakian material yet? She leaned down, her voice a whisper meant only for him. You are adequate for a beginner. Her tongue was playful, almost fond, and Mark's heart did a backflip better than his failed stunt earlier. Adequate? Bruh, give me a week and I'll be out dancing your whole planet, he shot back, winking. Bet you'll be simping for my moves by then. Zelra's laugh echoed again, and Mark knew he'd never get tired of that sound. Yeah, he thought, I could get used to this wife thing. Mark stood in the nuptial chamber, his monster hide toga feeling like a costume from a low-budget sci-fi flick, his heart racing like he just chugged 3 energy drinks before a stream. His drone was powered down outside, leaving him without his usual audience, and the silence was weirdly intense, like the universe was holding its breath. Chat's gonna have to use their imagination for this part, he muttered, then caught Zelra's raised eyebrow, her armor glinting as she loomed over him. Respect the privacy, eh? No cap, just waves. Smooth, Mark, he thought, cringing internally. You're alone with your alien wife, and you're still talking like you're on Unitube. Zelra sat her plasma sword against the wall with a deliberate clink, her posture as commanding as ever, but her voice carried a playful edge that made Mark's stomach do a flip. You have invoked the binding ceremony, human, she said, stepping closer, her shadow swallowing him whole.
Now you must fulfill the duties of a mate. The word duties hit Mark like a plot twist in a VR game, his mind spiraling. Duties, he thought, like filing space taxes, wiping down her sword? Or is this about to get PG-13? He swallowed hard, trying to play it cool. Yo, Zelra, you talking like doing the dishes, taking out the space trash? Give me the playbook. I'm new to this husband gig. Her lips curved into a smirk and she tilted her head, studying him like he was a puzzle she hadn't decided to solve or smash. No, little warrior, she said, her tone teasing but with a hint of curiosity. You must refine your biochemical technique. This kiss you wielded against me, I require practice to master it. The way she said kiss, like it was a tactical maneuver, sent Mark into a fit of laughter, his nervousness melting into excitement. She's out here treating my smooch like a martial art? I'm so down for this. Oh, you want kissing lessons? He said, stepping closer, his confidence surging despite the fact that she was twice his height. I'm basically a professor of smoochology, certified in intergalactic vibes. But you're built like a space titan. We're gonna need some creative choreography here. He craned his neck, half expecting to need a ladder, but Zelra surprised him by kneeling, her armor creaking as she brought her face level with his. Then teach me, little warrior, she said, her voice dropping to a purr that made his knees weak. Show me the strength of your human chemistry. Mark's brain short-circuited. Yo, she's flirting, he thought, his heart pounding like a baseline at a rave. I crashed on her planet, kissed her to not die, and now she's asking for a masterclass? This is peak main character energy. He clapped his hands, channeling his streamer showmanship. All right, Zelra, welcome to Kissing 101 Human Edition. Step 1, you gotta tilt your head like you're dodging a plasma bolt. Step 2, pucker up, but not like you're eating sour candy. Keep it smooth, you feel me? He demonstrated, exaggerating the motions like he was filming a tutorial for his chat, and Zelra's brow furrowed, her warrior instincts clearly at war with this absurd ritual. Your instructions are illogical, she said, but she mimicked him, tilting her head with the precision of a sword strike. Like so? Mark nodded, trying not to laugh. Solid start, but you're giving robot learning to love vibes. Loosen up, let the vibes flow. He leaned in, his lips brushing his, and the contact sent a jolt through him, like he'd touched a live wire. Zelra's kiss was tentative at first, all calculated caution, but as Mark deepened it, she responded with a boldness that caught him off guard. Damn, he thought, pulling back to catch his breath. She's a quick learner. Inside, Zelra was a battlefield of logic and sensation. This is no combat technique, she thought, her heart rate spiking as Mark's lips left hers. Yet it disarms me more than any blade. Her training had taught her to master every challenge through strength and discipline. But this human's chaotic ritual was rewriting her rules. His kiss was warm, unguarded, a stark contrast to the cold precision of Zorakian life. Why does this feel like victory? She wondered, her fingers twitching as she resisted the urge to pull him closer. He is no warrior, yet he commands my attention. Is this the bond of mates, or am I falling to his strange power? Mark, oblivious to her turmoil, was riding a high. Yo, Zelra, that was like a B-plus effort, he teased, but we're going for gold. Round 2, add some flair. Put your hands here. He guided her hands to his shoulders, ignoring the fact that she could probably crush him, and lean in like you mean it. Zelra raised her eyebrow, her voice dry. You instruct me as if I am a novice recruit. I am Zelra, blade of the Crimson Spire. I do not lean without purpose. But she followed his lead, her hands resting lightly on his shoulders, and this time her kiss was fiercer, like she was claiming ground in a duel. Mark's brain melted, and he stumbled back, panting. Okay, that's A-plus territory. You're gonna make me pass out, woman. Zelra's laugh was low, almost musical, and it hit him like a critical hit. Your species is fragile, she said, her tone half mocking, half intrigued. Yet you persist. This ritual, it is not without merit. She traced a finger along his jaw, her touch so gentle that it felt like a glitch in her warrior programming. He does not flinch from me, she thought, marveling at his audacity. He meets my strength with jest, my challenge with warmth. The realization made her pause, her hand lingering. I am bound to him, but do I wish to be? The answer, unsettlingly, was yes.
Mark grinned, his confidence soaring. Fragile? Nah, that's just human charm, baby. We're out here winning hearts across the galaxy. He flopped onto the massive bed, the mattress swallowing him like a cloud, and patted the space beside him. Come on, Professor's orders, one more practice round before we call it a night. Zelra hesitated, her armor clinking as she considered the absurdity of it all. I am a warrior, she thought, yet I am playing his game. But the warmth in his voice, the way he looked at her like she was more than a blade, pulled her in. She sat beside him, the bed creaking under her weight, and leaned down. Very well, little warrior, she said, her voice soft but teasing. But if you faint, I will not carry you to your chat. Their next kiss was slower, more lesson than a conversation, each movement a question and answer. Mark's hands found his fingers dwarfed by her grip, and he marveled at how natural it felt. I'm kissing an alien warrior in a cave on a desert planet, and it's the best vibe check of my life. Zelra, meanwhile, felt her defenses crumbling, each kiss eroding the walls she'd built around her heart. This is no mere ritual, she realized. This is us. The thought was terrifying, exhilarating, and she leaned into it, letting herself be human, just for a moment. By the 10th practice session, the air was thick with their laughter, the tension giving way to a shared rhythm. Yo, Zelra, you're legit gonna make me tap out. This is Olympic-level kissing, and I'm just a streamer. Zelra stretched out beside him, her armor a stark contrast to his toga, and propped herself on an elbow. You are more than a streamer, she said, her voice quieter now, almost vulnerable. You are unexpected. And I find that pleasing. More than pleasing, she admitted to herself, her heart racing. He made me feel alive. Mark grinned, his confidence soaring. Unexpected is my middle name. Well, actually it's Kevin, but don't tell chat. He reached for her hand, his fingers brushing hers. For real though, you're kinda dope. Like, I crashed here by accident, but I'm not mad about this. Understatement of the century, he thought. She's a whole-ass warrior queen, and she's vibing with me. I'm living the ultimate glow-up. Zelra's hand tightened around his, her touch a silent acknowledgement. He sees me, not as a blade, but as more.
Morning hit like a jump scare. Zelra's comm device blaring an alarm that could wake a coma patient. She sat up, her warrior instincts snapping into place, her voice all business. The elders summon us, she said, slipping into what Mark had dubbed her general mode. They wish to assess our union. Mark groaned, rolling out of bed, his monster hide toga clinging to him like a bad decision. Assess? What, like a pop quiz? Yo, Zelra, I didn't study for this. My brain's still buffering from last night's kissing marathon. Married one day, and now I'm getting graded? He thought, his heart racing. This is worse than a Twitch ban. They were led to a grand chamber, the elders perched on thrones that screamed authority. The head elder, a grizzled warrior with scars like a battle map, fixed Mark with a stare that made him feel like a glitch in the Matrix. Human, he began, his voice heavy with judgment. Your union with Zelra is unprecedented. Our laws demand proof of compatibility. Explain how a creature so diminutive can match a Zorakian warrior. Mark's streamer instincts kicked in, his nerves masked by a grin. Yo, big guy, let me break it down for the squad. Humans might be fun-sized, but we're the ultimate vibe check. Zelra's out here running the galaxy with her sword, and I'm keeping up with straight-up charm and, next-level kissing strats. He shot Zelra a wink, hoping to lighten the mood. We're like peanut butter and jelly, my dude. Different flavors, but straight fire together. Please don't eat me into space, he prayed, his nerves wobbling as the elders' faces stayed stone cold. Zelra stifled a laugh, her posture rigid but her voice betraying a hint of amusement. He speaks as if addressing his invisible audience, yet his words carry a strange strength. Inside, she was a storm of doubt and defiance. This human is no warrior, she admitted, but his audacity challenges me in ways I cannot name. The memory of their night in the nuptial chamber, his laughter, his warmth, lingered like a forbidden tactic. Am I defending him out of duty, or something more? She straightened, her resolve hardening. I will not let them dismiss him. The elders murmured, their skepticism thick enough to choke on. A younger one, her voice sharp as a blade, leaned forward. Zelra, you are our finest warrior. Why bind yourself to this entertainer? Zelra's response was immediate, her voice ringing with a pride that made Mark's jaw drop. Mark is no mere entertainer. He faced me in combat, however unorthodox, and claimed victory through courage and unexpected tactics. His spirit matches any Zorakian's, and his heart has claimed mine. His heart, she repeated silently, the words feeling truer than she'd expected. He is chaos, but he is mine. Mark's brain did a double take. Did she just call me her MVP? He thought, his chest puffing up. Damn, Zelra, you're gonna make me blush on stream. He turned to his drone, which had quietly reactivated, its holo display flashing with 800,000 viewers. Chat, y'all hear that? I'm officially a space heartthrob. Subscribe for the glow-up. The feed lit up with Mark the Goat and Zelra's whipped comments, but Mark's grin hid a flicker of awe. She's got my back. Like, for real. I'm not just a meme to her. The thought made his heart do a little TikTok dance, equal parts thrill and terror. Inside, Zelra was grappling with her own revelation. I spoke of his heart claiming mine, she thought, but do I believe it? Her training demanded strength, not sentiment, but Mark's fearless banter in the face of judgment stirred something deep. He does not bow, even to elders, she marveled. Is this the bond of mates, or am I falling to his strange human magic? She stole a glance at him, his goofy wink somehow steadying her. Perhaps it is both. The head elder raised his staff, silencing the chamber. Your words are noted, he said, his tone heavy with finality. But words are not enough. Your union must be proven through the trial of synergy. You will solidify your bond by producing 10 offspring, ensuring the strength of Zorak's lineage. The words landed like a meteor, and Mark's grin vanished, his brain blue-screening. 10 kids? He thought, his stomach lurching. I'm still figuring out how not to die on this planet, and now I'm supposed to be a space dad times 10? Yo, hold up, Mark, blurted, his voice cracking. 10 what now? Like, babies? With Zelra? No shade, she's a queen, but I'm just a streamer, not a baby factory. He turned to Zelra, half expecting her to back me up, but her face was unreadable, her warrior mask firmly on place. Is she cool with this? He wondered, panic rising, or is she about to yeet me for questioning it? He faced the elder, trying to channel his streaming charm. Big guy, can we, negotiate? Maybe start with one kid and see how it vibes? I'm new to this galaxy, cut me some slack. The elder's murmurs grew louder, their disapproval palpable. Zelra stepped forward, her voice steady but laced with an edge that made Mark flinch. The trial is sacred, she said, addressing the elders but glancing at Mark. Do not shame me, little warrior. This is our path. Our path, she repeated silently, her heart pounding. But can I walk it with him? The idea of offspring, 10 no less, was as alien to her as Mark's kisses. I am a warrior, not a mother. Yet his presence makes me question what I am capable of. The weight of the trial pressed on her, but also the memory of his laughter, his warmth. I will not falter, for both our sakes. Mark's mind was a chaotic live stream of panic and memes. She's serious? He thought, catching her glance. Bruh, I'm out here trying to survive, and now we're planning a galactic daycare? But her words, little warrior, our path, hit him harder than he expected. She's not just my wife on paper. She's ride or die. That thought was terrifying, but it also sparked something fierce in him. Okay, Mark, you've winged it this far. Time to clutch it like a clutch god. He straightened, flashing a grin at the elders. All right, 10 kids? Bet. Me and Zelra are going to build the dopest space family you've ever seen. Chat, y'all ready for the baby arc? Subscribe for the chaos. The drone's feed went wild. Comments like Mark is a dad and Zelra's carrying the team flooding in. But Mark's bravado masked a whirlwind of doubt. 10 kids with a 12-foot warrior? I don't even know if our DNA vibes like that. He glanced at Zelra, her posture unyielding but her expression softening just for him. She's scared too. And that thought made him want to step up, not run. We're in this mess together. Time to be the goat. Zelra, meanwhile, was wrestling with her own fears.
10 offspring, she thought, the number echoing like a war drum. A trial greater than any battle. Her life had been defined by combat, not creation. Yet Mark's reckless confidence in the face of judgment stirred something deep. He does not bow, even to authority, she marveled. Is this the bond of mates, or am I falling to his strange human magic? She stole a glance at him, his goofy wink somehow steadying her. Perhaps it is both.
Morning hit like a jump scare. Zelra's comm device blaring an alarm that could wake a coma patient. She sat up, her warrior instincts snapping into place, her voice all business. "The elders summon us," she said, slipping into what Mark had dubbed her general mode. "They wish to assess our union." Mark groaned, rolling out of bed, his monster hide toga clinging to him like a bad decision. "Assess? What, like a pop quiz? Yo, Zelra, I didn't study for this. My brain's still buffering from last night's kissing marathon." "Married one day and now I'm getting graded?" he thought, his heart racing. "This is worse than a Twitch ban." They were led to a grand chamber, the elders perched on thrones that screamed authority. The head elder, a grizzled warrior with scars like a battle map, fixed Mark with the stare that made him feel like a glitch in the Matrix. "Human," he began, his voice heavy with judgment, "your union with Zelra is unprecedented. Our laws demand proof of compatibility. Explain how a creature so diminutive can match a Zorakian warrior." Mark's streamer instincts kicked in, his nerves masked by a grin. "Time to sell it," he thought, stepping forward. "Yo, big guy, let me break it down for the squad. Humans might be fun-sized, but we're the ultimate vibe check. Zelra's out here running the galaxy with her sword, and I'm keeping up with straight-up charm and, next-level kissing strats." He shot Zelra a wink, hoping to lighten the mood. "We're like peanut butter and jelly, my dude. Different flavors, but straight fire together." "Please don't yeet me into space," he prayed, his confidence wobbling as the elders' faces stayed stone cold. Zelra stifled a laugh, her posture rigid but her voice betraying a hint of amusement. He speaks as if addressing his invisible audience, yet his words carry a strange strength. Inside, she was a storm of doubt and defiance. This human is no warrior, but his audacity challenges me in ways I cannot name. The memory of their night in the nuptial chamber, his laughter, his warmth, lingered like a forbidden tactic. Am I defending him out of duty or something more? She straightened, her resolve hardening. "I will not let them dismiss him." The elders murmured, their skepticism thick enough to choke on. A younger one, her voice sharp as a blade, leaned forward. "Zelra, you are our finest warrior. Why bind yourself to this entertainer?" Zelra's response was immediate, her voice ringing with a pride that made Mark's jaw drop. "Mark is no mere entertainer. He faced me in combat, however unorthodox, and claimed victory through courage and unexpected tactics. His spirit matches any Zorakian's, and his heart has claimed mine." "His heart," she repeated silently, the words feeling truer than she'd expected. "He is chaos, but he is mine." Mark's brain did a double take. Did she just call me her MVP? He thought, his chest puffing up. Damn, Zelra, you're gonna make me blush on stream. He turned to his drone, which had quietly reactivated, its holo display flashing with 800,000 viewers. Chat, y'all hear that? I'm officially a space heartthrob. Subscribe for the glow up. The feed lit up with Mark the Goat and Zelra's whipped comments, but Mark's grin hid a flicker of awe. She's got my back. Like for real. I'm not just a meme to her. The thought made his heart do a little TikTok dance, equal parts thrill and terror. Inside, Zelra was grappling with her own revelation. I spoke of his heart claiming mine, but do I believe it?
Her training demanded strength, not sentiment. Yet Mark's fearless banter in the face of judgment stirred something deep. "He does not bow, even to elders," she marveled. "Is this the bond of mates? Or am I falling to his strange human magic?" She stole a glance at him, his goofy wink somehow steadying her. Perhaps it is both. The head elder raised his staff, silencing the chamber. "Your words are noted," he said, his tone heavy with finality. "But words are not enough. Your union must be proven through the trial of synergy. You will solidify your bond by producing 10 offspring, ensuring the strength of Zorak's lineage." The words landed like a meteor, and Mark's grin vanished, his brain blue-screening. 10 kids? He thought, his stomach lurching. "I'm still figuring out how not to die on this planet, and now I'm supposed to be a space dad times 10? "Yo, hold up," he blurted, his voice cracking. 10 what now? Like babies? With Zelra? No shade, she's a queen, but I'm just a streamer, not a baby factory." He turned to Zelra, half expecting her to back him up, but her face was unreadable, her warrior mask firmly in place. Is she cool with this? Or is she about to yeet me for questioning it? He faced the elder, trying to channel his streaming charm. "Big guy, can we, negotiate? Maybe start with one kid and see how it vibes. I'm new to this galaxy. Cut me some slack." The elder's murmurs grew louder, their disapproval palpable. Zelra stepped forward, her voice steady but laced with an edge that made Mark flinch. "The trial is sacred," she said, addressing the elders but glancing at Mark. "We will honor it, as mates must." To Mark, she added, quieter, "Do not shame me, little warrior. This is our path." "Our path," she repeated silently, her heart pounding. "But can I walk it with him?" The idea of offspring, 10 no less, was as alien to her as Mark's kisses. "I am a warrior, not a mother, yet his presence makes me question what I am capable of." The weight of the trial pressed on her, but also the memory of his laughter, his warmth. "I will not falter, for both our sakes." Mark's mind was a chaotic live stream of panic and memes. "She's serious?" he thought, catching her glance. "Bruh, I'm out here trying to survive, and now we're planning a galaxy daycare." But his words, "little warrior, our path," hit her harder than he expected. She's not just my wife on paper. She's ride or die. The thought was terrifying, but it also sparked something fierce in him. "Okay, Mark, you've winged it this far. Time to clutch this like a clutch god." He straightened, flashing a grin at the elders. "All right, 10 kids? Bet. Me and Zelra are going to build the dopest space family you've ever seen. Chat, y'all ready for the baby arc? Subscribe for the chaos." The drone's feed went wild. Comments like, "Mark's a dad," and "Zelra carrying the team," flooding in. But Mark's bravado hit a whirlwind of doubt. 10 kids with a 12-foot warrior? I don't even know if our DNA vibes like that. He glanced at Zelra, her posture unyielding, but her expression softening just for him. She's scared too, he realized, and that thought made him want to step up, not run. We're in this mess together. Time to be the GOAT. Zelra, meanwhile, was wrestling with her own fears. 10 offspring, she thought, the number echoing like a war drum, a trial greater than any battle. Her life had been defined by combat, not creation. Yet Mark's reckless banter in the face of judgment made the impossible seem possible.
Mark paced their cave, his modified armor, leather jacket vibes with Zorakian edge, sticking to his skin as he grappled with the elder's demand. 10 kids in a year to prove their bond. 10 in a year?
he thought, his stomach churning. I'm a streamer, not a baby factory. Zelra sat on their massive bed, plasma sword propped nearby, her warrior poise masking a nervous fidget that set Mark's nerves on edge. Gotta start this trial now, he realized, but how do you even dive into that? His drone hovered quietly, streaming to 1 million viewers, but he ignored it, focusing on the task at hand. Zelra's voice sliced through his thoughts, firm but with a teasing lilt. Stop circling like a lost drone, little warrior. The trial demands we unite. Now. She patted the bed, her confidence wavering as her fingers twitched. 10 offspring, she thought, her pulse racing. A duty beyond my training, yet his spark compels me. She assumed Mark grasped Zorakian biology, rapid conception, but the 1-year deadline meant constant effort. He's human, unproven, but his boldness pulls me. The thought of their union stirred a heat she wasn't ready to name. Can he match my pace? Mark's brain stalled. Unite? Oh, we're talking baby making, he thought, cheeks burning. All right, Zelra, I hear you, he said, aiming for cool but landing on nervous energy. 10 kids in a year's intense. You sure you're ready for my full vibes? He flashed a grin, flirting to mask his panic. I'm hyping this up, but what if I can't keep up? Zelra leaned closer, her presence electric, her voice a playful dare. Your vibes are all talk, human. Prove it, or I'll outshine you. Their chemistry crackled, and Mark's heart raced. She's down, he thought, half thrilled. Time to step up. He slid onto the bed, smirking. Bet, babe, let's kick this trial off with some next-level teamwork. Just pace me, all right? I'm not built for marathons. Zelra's laugh was sharp, easing the tension as they leaned in, the drone discreetly panning away to keep it PG-13. This is wild, Mark thought, but with her, I'm all in. The next morning, Mark was sprawled out, gulping a Zorakian energy drink that tasted like regret, when he saw Zelra by the cave's entrance, her hand on her belly already swollen like she'd swallowed a melon. Yo, what? He choked, bolting upright. Zelra, that's not how babies work. We just yesterday. His drone flicked on, capturing the moment, the chat briefly flashing already prego before he waved it off. 1 day? He thought, Tanic spiraling. Is this an alien prank? I'm not ready for this. Zelra faced him, her warrior mask slipping, voice tinged with awe and embarrassment. This exceeds expectation. My kind births in a week, but legend speaks of perfect harmony. When mates align fully, our cycle shrinks to days. She softened, almost shy. Our bond, it's stronger than I foresaw. Stronger than I dared to hope, she thought, heart pounding. His human fire has awakened an ancient trait. The realization that their connection had turbocharged her biology mixed pride with nervous anticipation. Will he stand by this chaos? Mark's jaw dropped. Days? Not even a week, he thought, half laughing, half reeling. Babe, we're so good together we broke your baby system? That's insane. But I'm not signing up for dad duty bite tomorrow. He paced, then stopped seeing her uncertainty. She shook too, he realized. We're in this deep. He took her hand, voice steadier. All right, Zelra, this is chaos, but if we're this synced, we'll own this trial. 10 kids? We'll wrap it early. I'm terrified, he admitted, but she's my ride or die. Zelra's grip tightened, her voice warm with a daring edge. Early? You'll tire by next moon, little warrior. But I trust our fire. His resolution anchors me, she thought, nerves fading. This is ours. Their banter sparked, flirty but focused. Need a schedule, babe, he said, dodging her nudge. This pace is wild. Zelra's laugh rang out. Keep up, human, or I'll lead. Their shared spark, fueled by a legendary twist, promised a whirlwind to 10.
3 months later, Mark and Zelra stood in Zorak's grand chamber, their cave now a chaotic nursery for 10 squirming green-tinged babies who were already sword-flipping like mini Zelras. Mark's toga was swapped for a custom space dad jacket, his drone streaming to 1 billion viewers. Chat, we did it, he crowed, dodging a baby spit-up projectile. 10 kids in 3 months, we speed ran the trial of synergy like absolute legends. The holo display flashed, humanity, fuck yeah, and Mark the goat. But Mark's eyes were on Zelra, her armor gleaming as she cradled 2 kids with warrior grace. She's my MVP, he thought, heart swelling. Crashed a ship, married a queen, built a squad. Peak glow up. Zelra faced the elders, her voice proud but warm. Our bond is proven, she declared, gesturing to their brood, each a chaotic mix of human means and Zorakian grit. We've forged a lineage stronger than steel. Stronger than I dreamed, she thought, stealing a glance at Mark. Their whirlwind, her one-day pregnancies triggered by their harmony, had been a blur, a flirty bonding, and Mark's energy drink-fueled stamina. He met my fire with chaos, she marveled, and made me more than a blade. Her hand brushed his, a silent vow. He is mine, and I am his. Mark grinned, stepping up. Yo, elders, we didn't just pass your trial, we lapped it. Zelra's a beast, and I'm the hype man of the galaxy. Our kids, future MVPs, ready to vibe check the universe. 10 kids, he thought, still reeling, and we did it with style. The cultural gap, her turbo biology versus his human limits, had sparked endless laughs and steamy nights. Real talk, he whispered to Zelra, your baby express lane nearly ended me, but I'd do it again. Her laugh, sharp and musical, hit him like a crit. You barely survived, little warrior, she teased in a low voice. But you're my chaos. The head elder raised his staff, his voice booming. Your union is Zorak's pride. Mark and Zelra, your synergy is eternal. The crowd roared and Mark pumped the fist. That's right. And we're the dopest space fam ever. He pulled Zelra close, their kids cooing as the drone zoomed in, capturing their spark. From crash to clutch, we rewrote the stars. Zelra leaned down, whispering, You've changed my world, human. Their kiss, quick but fierce, sealed the saga, a viral clip that broke the galactic net. Humanity, fuck yeah, Mark thought, grinning. We out here winning.